What's up guys, Roman here, and today we are once again working on my new YouTube studio. Now the goal of today's video is try to improve the overall lighting of this studio by installing more Philips Hue lights as well as a ginormous room light that I've got, which we're gonna hang in a fashion that it actually illuminates the ceiling in order to get a nice and diffuse illumination of this entire room. Now, besides more lighting, I also bought additional shelving in order to have more storage space for basically all of my IT boxes that are currently in my IKEA shelf to my right-hand side, which we'll also build in today's video. And finally, I also received the USB 3.1 USB hub that I'll use for all of the peripheries on my set stand desk that I'm gonna install in today's video. And with that, I guess the initial setup of my new YouTube studio is basically going to be done. So with having said that, let's start installing this huge room light that I've got, for which I actually have to pull a cable from the center of the room where the actual light box is, or where the cables come out for the light, all the way up to the roof and then back down a little bit in order for me to actually install this in a way that it actually illuminates the ceiling. Right, so the cable is up and installed. As you can see, I took it out of the light plug right there and then all the way up to the ceiling and back down. Now, obviously, I'm no trained electrician, so if what you're seeing here, me installing those cables, is a bit cringy, then apologies. This is not a tutorial on how to install lights. This is just for your entertainment, just as a bit of a disclaimer. Alright, so let's check out the big room light that I got for my new studio. So this is an Eglo light. Not sure if that's actually available anywhere other than Switzerland or Germany. But the cool thing is that this is an LED light where you can change both the temperature, the light temperature, as well as the color. At the warm white setting, it's actually a whopping 4,300 lumen. So that should be plenty to actually illuminate this entire room. And I think you should be able to actually change the settings both with a remote as well as with a mobile phone. So this should be actually pretty cool to kind of get my room much nicer lighting than it currently has. So let's get this out of the box here real quick. It's actually very slim. So it's a very tiny and very wide lamp, this one. So let's get this out of the plastic. It's actually really hard one-handed. Oh, there you go. Perfect. So we got the light as well as the fixture. And I think that this is the remote. Right, so let's put this out of the bracket, put it up on the wall, get some screw holes in there, and get this light installed. I actually won't be needing the third because this light doesn't have a grounding pole, which is a bit concerning, but oh well, I could have gone for a much slimmer cable actually if I knew that. Who came up with this? I mean, if you have the power from here, it's fine, but if power comes from somewhere else, like here, it's not fine. I think I'll just put a hole in here, to be honest. Just drill a hole in the middle. That's probably what I'm gonna do. Right, so I drilled a hole into this mounting bracket here in order to make sure that I can actually route in the power cable from the top. Don't have to do it from here, which would look rather horrible, I think. Blue is neutral. Oh god, this is horrible. I hate this. I hate this so much. Alright, so the room light is hanging and is working properly. And I also installed the Philips Hue, what's it called? Play light bar right behind the computer there. So it just kind of gives a nice kind of illumination on that wall right below the pegboard. And it should hopefully also look good when I'm shooting videos from here. Now the sun is right in my face. And I give kind of accents between this Philips Hue lights over there as well as over there. So with that, it's time to build the two new shelves that I've got that I'll install right on the wall behind the PC. Let's get to work. Okay, so I successfully installed the shelf, and I actually already put a lot of my boxes that I had in the IKEA shelves over there into this one here, just to make sure that this one over there isn't going to be as stuffed and packed as it was. And then initially I wanted to get more of these blue boxes here that are initially actually meant to go onto the pegboard, but they're really huge. So I decided to just put them into the shelf here. And these boxes are going to be for my Ethernet cables, audio cables, power cables, display cables, so DisplayPort and HDMI, as well as finally USB cables. But yeah, I'm actually really happy with how this all turned out and how I'm gonna have so much more storage space in my new studio, so when I buy new equipment, then I'm gonna actually be able to store it properly. Now, the shelf itself actually came with kind of these wooden tops, so if you look beneath those, you can see it's kind of this ugly wooden panels that you have to put on top. But I decided I didn't like this ugly wooden tops, so I went out and bought spray paint and painted them in this very nice gray so that the wood would actually nicely complement the kind of color of the entire shelf. And in my opinion, this has actually turned out surprisingly awesome, considering that I had no clue what the actual color of this shelf was. Right, so the USB hub that I went for is this USB 3.1 Gen 2 hub that has actually 4 USB Type A ports and then also 3 USB Type C ports. So it's going to be plenty of connectivity for my mouse, my keyboard, the Blue Yeti, as well as I guess pretty much any other periphery that I might want to use in the future. Now this bad boy I'm going to put underneath the table, and then I'm going to route an additional USB Type-C cable on top of the table just to be sure that I can actually connect devices to this hub without actually the need to connect new cables to this thing once it's installed underneath the table. But yeah, let's get this thing installed underneath the table and then get all of the cables hooked up nicely. But overall, with all of the lighting in this room and with the shelf installed, I think this studio build series has come pretty much to an end. I might change out some things, like putting different things in this shelf and changing out the layout in the IKEA shelf over there. But overall, I think the basic setup of my new studio is basically done, and I think for now it's time for a short montage.